Hello. This is Sterling Streets again. Want to encourage the use of computer. So we're going to have a computer training in order to promote the use of technology. So we'll talk about the computer hardware and the computer software. So let's go on. So you want to understand what a computer is. This is some basic definition about computer, and we think everybody should know if you really want to know how to use the computer. A computer is an electronic device that receives input, stores or processes this input to give an output. So with this definition, we have about four key main words: the electronic device, input, stores or process, and then output. So we want to understand what electronic devices are. I tell my students that yes, when you say electronic device, look at the electronic shop. Whatever you find there is an electronic device. So when you go to the electronic shop, you see this old radio, old television. We have the smart TV, we have the mobile phone, we have the old mobile phone, and you have the camera. So all these are examples of electronic devices. So if you ask to list as electronic device, these are the examples you should know. So for a computer, for something to be called a computer, it should be an electronic device in the first place. And then there should be an input and then process and output. So we want to talk about the input process output model. So when you say input process output model, what do we mean? Well, I like to give an example using the calculator. All of us used a calculator during our senior high school days. Okay. So when you want to add 2 plus 3, what do? You input 2, you press 2, then you press plus, and then you press 3 to get an output of 5. So the 2 plus 3 goes through a process and you get the output of 5. So that's the input 2 plus 3 and then output 5, and the process goes in there. So if you want to understand this better, if I ask you to add 2 plus 3 and you are a small girl or a small boy, you like to put 2 fingers up and then 3 fingers up. And after that, put them together and count them. So putting them together and counting them is actually the process. So this goes on behind the scene of the calculator. So that's the process that the computer goes through or the calculator goes through. So 2 plus 3, the process goes on with the 2 and 3 fingers put together, counted to give you 5. So that's the process, and you get an output of 5. So that's the input process output. So we go on. Yes, this is the computer has evolved through many stages. The first stage of the computer is the abacus, which you all know. If you want to add 2 plus 3 or 5 plus 4, you count 5 pieces and then 4 pieces. So if you ask you to add 6 plus 15, you need to involve your toes or your toes in order to be able to count that. So that's so complex. The abacus was introduced to help us to do addition and subtraction easier. So the first stage of computing. This evolved through many stages where the movement of the these numbers as you see was done with the help of gears, and it went through so many stages, and now we have the modern day computer, which we call the laptop, or we can say the mobile phones that we have, the smartphones that we have, are also examples of computers. The computer has really evolved and gone through so many stages. So we say types of computers. We have the desktop computer and you have the laptop. We also have the servers, which are just like the laptops, but they have higher capacity, higher processing speed, higher capacity, higher everything. So it means that it does more work and to give you so much output. So you can have about five, naturally you have 5 computers on one server. So the server is really very powerful. We also have the supercomputers, which in the true sense of the word are supercomputers. So they are extraordinary, exceptional computers. In order to use computer, you need to understand some of these characteristics. This will encourage you to use the computer more. The computer has speed, huge storage capacity, accuracy, and reliability. I'll tell people that if you use the computer and you're not able to use it efficiently so that you don't utilize the speed of the computer, then what you are really using is not a computer. So in order to be able to use the computer well, you need to learn it well, to take advantage of the speed that the computer has, the historical capacity the computer has, and then the accuracy and then the reliability of the computer. So these are the reasons that we want to encourage the use of technology and promote the use of technology so that all of us will do things faster and accurately, and we will want to be more reliable with the help of the computer. So there are three main components of the computer system. We have the computer hardware and the computer software, and then the people bit. Let me talk about the people bit first before I move on. During the stages where we wanted to use the computer, where we're moving from using papers for other things and then moving to computer. Some companies struggle to introduce the use of computer at their workplace. The reason is that the people were not really willing to embrace the use of computer because they saw it as something that would take over their job, and they will not earn as much as they wanted. So they try to sabotage the system. So in effect, the management have to work extra harder to convince them to use the computer. That tells you that even if you have a very good hardware and a very good software, and the people who will use the computer are not willing to use the computer, then your hardware and the software become useless. So if you have a very good hardware, you have a very good software, you need people to be able to use it and use it efficiently. So you have the computer hardware. So when you say computer hardware, what is it? Computer hardware is the physical component of the computer that we can see, some say we can touch. So what you see when you take the system unit is the computer hardware. There are other components that are hidden in the system unit that you can open or uncover the system unit and you'll be able to see all that. So any physical component of the computer is called the computer hardware. And there are two categories of hardware that we all know, that we should know. We have the input device and the output device. The output device is any system or thing or part of the computer that helps us to enter data into the computer. So if I want to put something into the computer, I want to enter something, I use the keyboard to enter. I can use the mouse to enter. I can use my microphone. I speak and the computer records it. So all these things that helps me to be able to enter data or send information to the computer are input devices because they help me to input something into the computer, so to speak. So we have the output device. The output device, they are devices that helps us to see what the computer has processed or whatever we have put on the computer. Anything that helps us to see them. If I put in something into the computer and I print it and I see it, then it means that with the aid of the printer, I'm able to see what I've processed. Then it means that the printer is an output device. In the same way, I'm able to read what I've typed on my screen with the help of the computer screen or the monitor. So the screen is an output device. If I have a computer with a very bad screen that I can't read from, I can use the projector to be able to see what I have typed. Then in that case, the projector is an output device. So when I record something, I want to play it, I use the speaker. With the help of the speaker, I'm able to hear what I have recorded. So when I play it and I'm able to hear with the aid of the speaker, then the speaker is an output device. So these are examples of output devices that we normally come across. We have the input device, which I've already mentioned, and then we have the output device. All these are examples. Printer is an output device. The monitor screen is the output device, an output device. We have the speaker and so many other things there. We also have the input device here. Okay, so we talk about the software. So when you say computer software, what is it?